City of Stevens Point Airport Commission meeting, recorded October 14, 2025.
Airport. Do the roll call. We need that. Okay, approval of the minutes from the September 8th meeting. Any questions? I'll move approval. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Let's look at the claims for the airport. Any questions? Okay. Do we want to move, do we have an approval of the claims for the airport? Move approval. Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, about the airport activity report. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, good afternoon. Last we met, we were in the middle of our annual QC inspection. I wanted to update the commission that we passed the flying colors. We're actually commended this year on our record keeping and testing procedures. So we'll look to keep that going and the adjustments that we made moving forward.
Good job.
Another item of note is our master plan project. I'd like to thank the commission for recommending approval and passing on to the Common Council our sponsor-only agreement. That enabled us to get the aerials flown this year before leave off and accelerated the master plan project and kept it in a timely manner. So now we can kind of get some other projects in the queue for next year and utilize the BIL and IIJA funding that's still available. Thank you.
Good.
And thankfully now that's no longer needed, right? So the sponsor-only
Right.
thing has
Expired. Yep.
lapsed because of the fact that they got the money.
They did. They got the funding, so we've been.
Yeah.
It's actually essentially null and void at this point. It never had to be reimbursed, but it did get the contract signed and the flights made. So thank you.
Good.
So, what area of the city was flown in?
The approaches and all the airspace for the airport. So nothing really. I mean, I'm sure they caught areas that Joel and I actually had a lengthy discussion of this, that we fly aerials for the county and the city.
Right.
That largely would be redundant, but there are certain items they're looking for in the aerials that they fly for the airport that may not exactly get caught in the other aerials that we fly.
Right.
Even though they use a lot of the same equipment. So they fly the standard approaches and the approach procedures for parking and landing traffic. And then also some extensions to those Part 77 services, we call them, the airspace services for the airport.
And I think that that standard they fly to is probably just a notch above
Right.
what we do everything in the city for. So like the
Different
LiDAR.
altitudes flown is,
Yeah.
I think, the biggest thing. I think the equipment.
Sure.
Yeah, probably the same equipment, a lot lower flight or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what's the standard altitude?
Well,
What I
for your
what I was referring to is an actual, like it's a listed standard. I don't know what the altitudes are or anything like that, but there is a industry standard on points returned or whatever they call it, the point cloud that you get on LiDAR per inch for things like when you're talking 3-inch resolution and you're talking 10 to 40 or down to 3 points per meter on LiDAR, stuff like that. But those two industry standards aren't the same. The one that when we use the WROC program that us and the county both participate in, versus what they do this in is I guess I'd call it a higher standard, and by that I mean a higher resolution. And so we couldn't get it to work having just flown it.
Okay.
You know, so and it's quite expensive, so but that's all in the works. I got 2 things to add if I can to the report. One, in future months, we I don't know if any of you are really exposed to this, but for several months now, the city's commission, oh gosh, I just blanked. The commission that's handling our, goals on, decarbonization and, everything like that. What are we calling it? Sustainability Commission, sorry. They've been meeting with department heads for the last several months, getting a snapshot of their operations, in order to eventually at some point figure out where the low-hanging fruit is in the city and where to put time and effort and money on meeting the goals that the city has set as it relates to renewables and carbon reduction, right? One of the things you may see in the next few months is consideration to a land lease in on the airport for solar purposes. Now, this does not get us green energy, it gets us lease revenue, which is only really something we're looking at. And the reason you don't see a lease in front of you today is because there's recent legislation introduced to allow the kind of solar construction that we would prefer to do, and that is a large installation somewhere that can produce energy, send it to the grid, and then we as a city with multiple places around town that use power can take it off the grid at the same rate with a small power line carrier fee or something.
Right,
Our electric provider doesn't do that.
no.
A lot do. So there's legislation now to compel them to do that. And so we're kind of treading water right now, waiting to see if that really picks up some potential, because in that case, we'd maybe still pursue a land lease at airport because it's revenue, but we'd pursue a large solar, facility elsewhere on other city property that might produce somewhere between 3 and 10 megawatts, where we can use it at facilities that are spread out around the city, right? So just a little, foreshadowing there.
You said there's
About that.
legislation, that state or
Yeah.
federal?
They,
State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, if you as an electric utility want to allow that, you can ask for it in your tariffs from the Public Service Commission. And most of them have, WPS has not. So we can't do here what others can do. And that's kind of frustrating because it makes it harder for us to reach those carbon reduction goals.
Right.
And we want to do it efficiently, which means a big facility somewhere that can be managed as one is better than 14 small facilities somewhere. Because if you have to do this all behind the meter, it really makes it inefficient. So we're kind of waiting and seeing right now.
Is there a difference between what the owner of WPS, isn't that Alliance?
They're WEC,
whack.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, it does matter who owns them, yeah,
but-
yeah.
Doesn't the parent company do that in the Madison area?
They do,
Or is that-
yeah, other
that-
subsidiaries of WEC do allow that, and so I'm not quite sure what the corporate perspective is on that, other than they do have big renewable goals of their own.
Hmm.
And I think they're looking at it saying, well, if there's gonna be a ton of renewables on our grid, why aren't they gonna be ours? Which I actually don't disagree with. It's like, stick to core production, right? Do we make power here? No, we handle water in every way you can, right? If they could provide us, efficiently with all the green energy we want, there'd be no reason to look at putting up 5 megawatts of it of our own. But right now, that's still expensive. It's quite a bit more expensive. And as those kind of cost lines intersect, I imagine what will be a good opportunity in the next 5 years is actually just buying green energy, committing to it. You have a different rate. It'll be, bigger by this much per kilowatt hour. And we'll go, yeah, that's worth it, because otherwise we have a $10 million facility to build, or whatever it could be, So we're just watching that, and that's I brought it up during the airport agenda because of the fact that that lease could happen at airport first, but it really impacts utilities too. Utilities are the biggest power user in the city. So we're keeping a very close eye on that.
If we didn't put a solar facility at the airport, where else in the city would it go?
We've got some options. I don't want to spoiler alert those.
Oh, I'm just wondering, because I know lots of small spots in the city.
What we're doing is there is one company that works with, WPS directly, and we're having them evaluate some sites to see, okay, is your distribution strong enough here that if we built here, we could connect? And if not, is it a mile away? Is it 2 miles away? How expensive would that be? So we're evaluating some stuff, and certainly before we get anywhere, we'll kind of show you where we got to on that, but, yeah. All I've got, sorry.
Any other,
That's awesome.
okay, I guess we're done. Move
Move to adjourn?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Thank you, everybody.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.